Yo, 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 yo. Hey, how do you? Children of the Internet is I've Great Metalock. And today we are playing. That's not the name. Today we're playing My Name is You, and it's the only unusual thing in my life. I expected to click that and immediately.
It
It may
may
seem.
seem that the story of you is chaotic. However, in reality, it is not. The more stories you pass through, the more likely you will be to piece it into one whole picture. Use every possible opportunity. The truth is somewhere close.
Now, I'm stupid. Why did Outplayed. Now I am stupid. So, it's gonna be quite difficult for me. I kinda wanna do my own voices. I'll turn them off if they get annoying. I'm gonna do my own voices for the sake of. Well, we'll go voices on for now, because I don't know what all
I
is voice.
suppose I will start at the
What all is
very
not.
beginning.
Because if it's just the narration that
Chapter 1.
hey, can you not narrate everything? Can you let me say some things, please?
Once upon a time, there lived you.
Yeah, no. Pause. No. This voice is gonna annoy the fuck out of me. Because we're gonna be talking over each other the entire time. So, I suppose I'll start at the very beginning. Chapter 1. Once upon a time, there lived you. Despite his unusual name, his life was hardly different from any others, or from others'. It was an unusually usual day when he was getting ready to go to work. I don't know where I got long from. 2 hours of sleep, what a formality, he said to himself, glancing at his watch. He was used to working at night, just as he was used to never having days off. That morning, the buttons on his shirt were fastened faster than usual. This was not by chance. The tear-off calendar boldly declared Friday, April 3rd. It reminded him that there were only 3 workdays before his holiday, and there was no room for mistakes. His room in a communal apartment was not very big, so it did not take him long to pack. Having gotten dressed, he quietly walked past the neighbor's room into the hallway. Somebody was snoring loudly in the furthest room, which caused you to smile for some reason. Oh. He walked up to the front door and accidentally stepped on a pile of letters, picking up the envelopes. I don't know how it's pronounced. He saw his name on one of them. You automatically put it in his pocket and walked out. I thought that next Sunday a huge stone would be removed from the entrance to the crypt of his existence by the power of labor legislation kept you going. Free to work or free to live. You can't afford to be labor, that's right. Glancing at the address line, a chill went through your used body for a split second. From Derby. You was confused by the seal of the envelope, indicating the place of departure. Nalia Vigarat. Is she really coming back to Connaught? I wonder. Dear you, my doctor suspects. Oh, Christ. Yikes. I think you just heard that. Dear you, my doctor's suspicions are confirmed. I have the same disease that struck you. I thought it over and decided that we needed to break up. It may seem that something like that should bring people closer, but it would be unfair to myself. We can have our last date on the morning of April 3rd in the Seafront Cafe, and then I will leave. Connaught and go abroad. But she. Okay. Felt dizzy. Or you. I'm going to the cafe. Although you suffered from excessive hypochondria, he really had an incurable illness. He clearly remembered the day when he heard the diagnosis. Since that moment, he stopped counting new birthmarks on his body. He seemed shaken up after reading the letter, but not surprised. Is that cancer? No. I don't know what disease would cause you to. He tried to squeeze out a tear to see if he was still capable of showing emotions. He was, because he smiled. Alas, he just welled up a little. You decided that it was because he had drank a large amount of coffee, which dehydrated his already dried up body. Approaching the seafront, he tried to spot Doreen. It did not take him long to find her. There she was at the cafe table. She probably had no clue how much he appreciated her starting the conversation. Usually you're late. Or usually you were late. I don't know. I'm tired. I hope you understand me. But he did not. Having overcome his anxiety, he squeezed out a handful of words. If she wants to leave, I'm gonna let her leave. There's no point in begging. He seemed to be ready for such an outcome and did not hold a grudge against her. Nodding goodbye to her, he hurried to work. He was almost there when he saw his boss enter the office building. He took it as his personal failure, although his watch showed that he had still had several minutes. Yu had barely gotten to the office when he noticed two male silhouettes behind him. He turned around and saw his boss and a man he had never seen before a little farther away. To avoid unnecessary explanations, Yu took a badge from his table and pointed to it. Yes, despite the fact that there were no live communication with clients, the work charter required to wear a name tag. Probably to remember your name. Wow, that's a very unusual name. Nice to meet you. It's the only unusual detail of my life. An awkward pause hung in the air. The boss behind Frank frowned and cast a reproachful glance at you. Frank is our security guard, starting today. Who? We have nothing to... A security guard. Some of my important documents are missing. There are only two of us. What kind of documents? That I cannot tell you. You mean you suspect me? No, I do not. Eliminating any opportunity to continue the conversation, the boss turned around and went to his office. The room plunged into silence. You got down to some clarity. You was sitting at a sturdy desk, imagining again and again how the shelves stocked with books on jurisprudence break loose due to their own weight from friable concrete and break his head. Stop using these big words. Listen, usually I'm good at big words. I don't know. Again, I'm sorry. Allowing himself a little break, Yu took his diary from his table drawer and made a note. I never took a plate of soup at school lunches, even when I really wanted to. I was afraid to spill it in front of him, or I could put it on my table. Which seems to be my life's pattern. Feeling some satisfaction from writing that, he resumed work. There was a rustling of the janitor's broom and the trill of birds outside the window. More accurate than the clock, he thought. So, let's analyze what happened in the first chapter. So, symbolically, I think the most important part of that was the soup. Not anagram, soup analogy. In you, what's the word for? In you saying or writing that, I think it is the most easy pickings, but also one of the most symbolically heavy things. Is just conformity, I guess, is the best way that I can put it, is genuinely pretty much what the thing is. The whole plot, I assume to be, is just that Yu is perfectly normal, and the only thing that's not normal is his name. But that's kind of wrong, because he's a very unusual sounding guy so far. He lives in a town called Cannot. I feel like that's reason enough to have an unusual life, or to be considered for an unusual life. And that town name interests me the most because the name cannot, in a sense, I feel cannot be some kind of it cannot just be. It has to mean more than I'm reading, right? And maybe we'll figure it out. On the second day of work, every sip of coffee came out of his nose as blood. Covering his nose with his hand, Yu went to the restroom. Why does it come out of his face? Cough. Excuse me. I wish I could narrate a little faster and keep from getting bored, but it's difficult in my condition. Let's continue. Oh, that was the narrator coughing. Is the narrator Yu? Returning to his workplace, Yu saw Frank sitting at his table and leafing through his personal diary. Such violation of personal boundaries was about to put you out of temper. No. What can you do? Yu gripped his diary and unexpectedly for himself pushed Frank to the wall, knocking it chair out. The shelves above Yu's desk shook and fell on Frank, lying in a fetal position, covering his head with his hands. Yu did not hear the sound of the shelves falling. There was nothing but inner noise in his head. Engulfed with righteous anger, Yu stood over the defeated guard. The holes from missing parquet boards under his head were slowly filled with purple. Oh, I killed him! Oh, I just murdered that man. Oh! Hopefully this isn't copyrighted. Eat a calf. Okay. Well, I just murdered someone. Copyrighted? Yeah, Ray? You. You is supposed to represent me. You haven't noticed yet. I think. I wish it was fast. Skip it. But, others push batteries, but temporary. Tickers. You give it to me! Here, take it. I was curious. In a moment, Yu hid his diary in the drawer of his desk. I am sorry if I offended you. The incident seemed to be over. Frank's intrusive nature got the better. Can I ask you a question? Why does everybody in your notes die? So answer. I want to know as well. Perhaps the lack of communication affected him. Unexpectedly for himself, he answered the question directly. I'm not sure, but it seems to me that the desire to kill a self-protagonist in the text takes roots in the desire to alienate the described situations from a real self. You said it as if he had prepared an answer to this question a long time ago, or at least he had thought about it. So, I want to analyze that. Silence set in. Frank was embarrassed by his answer. So, what I gather from that, and I think what is meant, and I'm just going to try and simplify it, or at least give it my interpretation, which is a lot of things that are wrong. But it's okay, because that's the point of art, is that you interpret it yourself. So I believe what's the word? The theorem, I suppose, of what Yu is saying is that Yu has been writing in his diary, and at the end of every story or idea that he has written, he's died. So I think what he's saying is that, also again, this is more proof, he's a very unusual person. I don't know about you, I'm not a very usual person, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't think you guys write in your diary like that. I write stories, but I don't kill off the main characters because I want to disassociate from the story. That's just weird. But that's what he's saying, is he kills off the self-protagonists because then he can disassociate himself from the story and disconnect it. You. Well, more likely that it is just easier to kill. Yeah, based. It tends to be easier to kill in stories. Pick up the phone. As soon as Yu came upon the phone, the ringing stopped. He barely returned to his desk when the phone rang again. Pick up the phone. As soon as Yu came up to the phone, the ringing stopped. He barely returned to his desk when the phone rang again. Oh, pick up the phone. Oh, the music changed. It stopped. Pick up the phone. It's gonna happen. I clearly remember that there was definitely no answer. Where was I? I will have to start. Oh. What? Oh, BS. Okay, whatever. Okay. Wait. What did that say? Something changed. There was more to that, when I went through the first time. Wasn't there? Future me, go pull a picture of that and show it, because there was more to that. That's, okay. Whatever. Ignore the call. The ringing bored into his skull. Yu was buzzing together with the receiver. Yu involuntarily took off, but his head started spinning and he was seeing dark spots. Holding onto the railing, Yu slid down the stairs and jumped out into the street. He ran into his boss at the door, who stood there smoking. Go to bed now. You can give me the rest of the papers tomorrow. Hey, Peter. He did not have any strength left to work anymore. Although he left some things in the office, Yu was not in a hurry to get it back. I should have heard that entire thing. His vision was not particularly keen on the second day, so it took him a while to recognize the familiar coast of the area. Yu livened a little. A welcoming grin appeared on his face. Hi, Max. Why are you not at work? I dismissed my students a little early. How are you feeling? As usual, another night shift. If I were your father, I would have fired you a long time ago. Or I would have fired you. What would be left for me then? Max answered the question. You want me to take your shift? I like your shift. No, thank you. You quickly said goodbye and left. He heard some painful cough behind his back and his lip let out a grin of satisfaction. Coming home, Yu could barely stand on his feet. Notwithstanding his lack of sleep and fatigue, he could not fall asleep. The day flashed in his head on repeat. As for the breakup, he did not see himself as a victim. On the contrary, the entire time during the relationship with Tina, Yu wondered, why did she love him, drained of all strength and weak in spirit from birth? He did not. Dizziness and pain subsided. At some point, he even thought about calling a doctor just to make sure that he was still alive. But sleep took its toll. Chapter 3. I think there's only 3 chapters. The alarm went off. Yu faced a new day with weakness in his legs and a throbbing headache. All night long, he had been haunted by a painfully familiar nightmare. However, when he woke up, all tangible images dissolved, leaving only a nasty precipitant. His body led him to the kitchen in search of caffeine. Despite the early hours, he found his boss there. How are you feeling? You heard the question, but ignored it because of his sleepy state. How difficult is it to answer? Yu was pleased to hear the words of concern, even coming that way. I'm sorry, Father. The cup in Yu's hand inevitably filled with bloody coffee. You look like shit. I feel like it. I do not want to lose my last son, even someone like you. He definitely has cancer. I don't know why I said that. I meant he definitely has a disease, but cancer just came out of my mouth. I don't know. I don't think it actually is cancer, because I don't believe that cancer would cause nosebleeds, and also cancer is not curable. I mean, it's not curable necessarily. So, whatever disease this is, let's step back for a second. Whatever disease this is, you and Darina both have it. It does not transmit necessarily through contact, or anything like that, so it's not infectious to my knowledge. Maybe it's a blood infection or an STD, but I don't believe it's infectious or viral. It causes nosebleeds. It causes weakness, dizziness, fatigue, insomnia, nightmares, difficulty swallowing, I suppose, would be an explanation for his coffee coming out of his mouth. But there's a lot to this disease, and I'm a little worried about what this means for you and also for Darina, because Darina has it too. But I'm curious if Kanat is specifically just a town that doesn't have anything to treat it, or what it is. Now, metaphorically speaking, the first thing that comes to mind is this is supposed to be an extended metaphor for, I suppose, monotony, or usuality, or routine. And the theory, as posed thus far, is that routine is a bit of a disease, or in a sense a disease, and a deadly one at that. And the reason that Darina has it, or that it has been quote-unquote transmitted to Darina, but that Yu's father doesn't have it, is because Yu's father is wiser and able to deal with that. However, I don't know how this extended metaphor would apply to actual physical conditions, like nosebleeds. Although I suppose stress can lead to nosebleeds. So maybe it's stress, maybe it's monotony. And it would also explain why his father doesn't have it, as his father may be a lot more secure, or maybe his father does have it and doesn't realize. And also that could play on the metaphor of losing sons, losing passion, and then the son becomes sort of this drone with very little personality, and maybe that's what it is. Anyways, his father had his old wool suit on and was about to leave for work. You do not have to go to the office today. Get some rest. I'm going to work. But you did not tell anyone about this, but I'm going to tell you confidentially. He believed that the disease manifested itself most fiercely when he went to bed. That was why you did not like to sleep. That would explain insomnia, stress, I suppose. His night fantasies became crazier with time. Also explains dreams. Every dream seemed to him a step closer to insanity. In order to control himself, he regularly looked at his hands and at the clock hands. He walked out of the door and noticed a stranger near the opposite house. That stranger was an identical copy of you, as if his long-lost twin. You froze and watched him. The door was half open, and he saw a pretty girl and a little boy, probably the same age as the kid, behind it. The newly appeared copy of you smiled, said goodbye to his family, and disappeared. He smiled. You decided to follow the imposter. He was filled with excitement and almost childish curiosity. Yu's assiduous attempts not to give himself away were unwarranted. His double had no intention of turning around. The pavement, the slums, the sound of the heartbeat of a whale. A straight path led them to the railway station. Suddenly, the second Yu turned back in the direction of the original, but the latter went unnoticed. The station was unusually empty. The double went to the counter and bought a ticket. Yu, without much hesitation, waited for a convenient moment and went up to the same window. I would like the same ticket at the same time. A heavy, apathetic cashier automatically had other request a ticket without batting an eyelid. The ticket said 8. The train was about to arrive. The double sat on a bench near the right track. Yu stayed at a distance, keeping an eye on him. Yu was so excited that the illness fell into the background. The train rattled in the distance. The double got up and walked to the edge of the platform. Yu came close to him, forgetting about precautions. Yes, he had decided to start a conversation. He was going to do it in the car so that the double could not escape. Before Yu realized what was happening, the double threw himself under the moving train. Yu choked from horror. His feet seemed glued to the platform. Everything around him froze. In a moment, hysterical screams of eyewitnesses pierced the frozen air. How come he had not noticed them? Somebody was killed! He pushed him! Take him! Train rattle squeezed out the last drops of sand. Blurred silhouettes impregnated with human justice surrounded him. Is this the end? The alarm went off. You face a new day with cookies and later. Okay. So, he either did kill or is just being accused of. I believe killed. I believe killed is the more accurate assumption. His doppelganger, which I find interesting, because I don't know what it means. Theoretically, I don't really know what it means in terms of that. Metaphorically, I just don't know. Maybe one of you can come up with it. Maybe one of you are smarter than me. Hopefully, one of you are smarter than me. Wait. This changed again. God, I gotta stop these. So, I believe it said something about he would take a different route this time. He would walk through the park or that patio or the arch by which he used to run so often. All that in order to somehow distinguish between days. Otherwise, everything merged into one endless strip. He remembered that it was the last working day before the holiday when he came to the office door. Entering the office, you noticed that Frank was not there. He grinned at that maliciously. found a new batch of documents on his table. Pinning his name tag on his jacket, you got to work. The work did not take as much time as the last work. He easily sorted out insurance files and, like a clerical deity, decided the client's fate, deciding who was to receive payments and who had mutilated himself for the purpose of deception. Having gone through most of the papers, he came across an extremely familiar storyline. Insurance form, life insurance form, 42 fractures, serious illnesses, and death. Insurance does not cover self-inflicted injuries, self-inflicted infection, or suicide. Date of insurance, March 29th. Date of death, April 5th. Oh my god! Did you take out an insurance on his doppelganger and then kill his doppelganger? Because April 3rd was Chapter 1, April 4th was Chapter 2, April 5th is Chapter 3. So, is this some kind of, like, multiple universes thing where you killed his doppelganger? Insurance sum 203,500 points. Salary 15,000. The client was an insurance agent. He bought a train ticket, later to be found under its wheels. Witness testimonies varied. According to some testimonies, he was pushed down on the track. According to the other, he stumbled. Since the gap between the date of insurance and the date of death was so small, there was a note in this file indicating a suspected suicide. All risks were borne by the office that makes the final decision. You know what? Get your money up, not your funny up. You heard? You confirmed the insurance payout to his metaphysical quality. What guided him to make such a decision? Did it invoke a sense of justice, compassion, selfishness, or maybe shame? I am sorry. No, you do not have to answer. You completed his paperwork earlier than yesterday. I am satisfied. He carefully unfastened his name tag and put it in front of himself. A confusing question went through his head. What's next? It was Yu's first holiday, and it seemed he did not even plan what to do during the long-awaited vacation. He took his time to clean up his desk and went to his boss's office. He formally knocked a couple of times on the door and appeared before his father. Can I go now? I have processed all the documents. Father glanced at the calendar, then at the clock. It took him a while to realize why his son was asking him. Yes, you are dismissed. There was an awkward pause between the family members. To break the silence, Yu mumbled, "If there is nothing I can do, you can go." Okay. Yu picked up his things, unable to shake off the feeling that he was awkwardly saying goodbye to his workplace. Leaving the office, Yu noticed a suspiciously familiar face of a person coming out of the opposite building. He was Yu's identical double. A sensation of deja vu continued. This was supposed to be horror, I think. It lasted until his double noticed him, wiping a smile off his face. Yeah. Okay, that doesn't scare me. I was terrified for a second. So, novel by Nikita Kath. I could look into this more, but honestly, I think I've seen enough. Maybe I'll look more into it later. As an English edition, also a lot of music. That was a pretty sweet game. It was only like 99 cents when I bought it. I think like $5. I don't exactly remember. It's either $5 or 99 cents, one of the two. Because I bought a lot of visual novels at the same time, so their numbers may be mixed up in my head. But super cool game. There's a lot of things that change, and I'm curious if I were to go back, maybe if this video gets enough views. If I were to go back, you know what? Here, drop a comment. Give me like 3 likes. I will make My Name Is You and Some Unusual Thing in My Life Part 2, where I explore more in depth. But regardless, I'm very curious of this game, and honestly, even if I don't get the likes, I may look into it myself, because a lot of it changed. And it's very odd how it changed. And I'm curious exactly what exactly all of it means, I guess. And yeah, I may have a Bible quote. If I don't, I have some Luke meta advice. And actually, I may just give both. But, you know, regardless, we'll start with the Luke meta advice. The first Luke meta advice, the first part, Luke meta advice, that I would like to give you is how do I explain? I don't know. I had Luke meta advice, but then I lost it. So we'll just read a Bible quote. This is Matthew 7, to 1 and 2. Matthew chapter 7, 1 and 2. Judge not that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye meet, shall be measured unto you. So yeah, you understand what that's saying? Then I don't know. Lol. The the biggest thing. How do I explain this? The biggest takeaway that I always want to give you, that I'm gonna comment on with a lot of my videos, is that I love you. And you may, specifically you, may know who I'm referring to on a more personal level. But anyone watching this, in any of simplest sense, the fact that you have dedicated your time to me, and that you have listened to me, even if you didn't listen, even if you put this on the background and fell asleep, the fact that you have given me your time is a thing that, on a more personal level, I don't experience very often, and I've been experiencing it recently. But a lot of the time, I don't experience it. So to be able to know and to publish these and see that people actually watch them is beautiful to me. And if I could meet you, whoever you are, whoever is watching, maybe future me, maybe her, maybe any random stranger, if I could meet you, I would love to. It'd be great. Sorry, I'm getting sappy. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. I love you. And if I don't, then Jesus loves you. And yeah, that's all the time we have for today's video. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe this is the last video I make for 6 years. Who knows? And if it is the last thing I make in 6 years, then this is a wonderful little Luke Meta goodbye. Hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, and goodbye.